This is a message from your guides reading for Family of Light. I have 3 crystals and okay, I'm going to start with my smoky quartz here surrounding us in some protective space. Okay, so I'll show you these really quickly. So I have my smoky quartz. Like I've said, I think I've gone over smoky quartz with you before. Grounding, psychic protection. So this is my turquoise, and this is a throat chakra stone. And then I have my clear quartz here. And this is kind of an all-purpose stone. It also tends to signify clearing and higher energies coming in. But in this case, especially, I almost feel like it's supporting the other stones a little bit. So almost adding like an energetic kind of enhancement to that is what it's feeling like as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and surround this with some protective energies with this as well. So also do some clearing. Okay, and this third one too. Okay, so apparently your guides are wanting me to do a little bit of clearing here. So I'm going to use my turquoise now as well. So there's a little bit of a block coming up in the throat chakra. And this tends to have to do with expressing ourselves. So it's a little harder to bring energy down past that chakra, past that point. And I tend to think of the energies as going up and going down. Some people think of it as starting from the root and the energy goes up. And so if you're blocked from the root up, you might have problems with higher chakras based off of that, which is true. But I tend to also think of it the other way as well, that we have energy that also comes down through the crown chakra. And so if you have problems here, if you're blocked up here, then you can have issues with the lower ones as well. So to me, this goes two ways. That's just always how I pick up on it. Okay, so there's some kind of odd stuff coming in. So I think I'm just going to start with the beginning. So you had a guide coming in. I'm pretty sure I haven't picked up on this guide with you before, but they felt like a dragon. They were instinctively showing me this dragon face. And at first I'm thinking, okay, maybe a totem animal or something, but this definitely felt like a guide. Even though, like I said, I don't think I've ever picked up on a dragon guide with you. And this felt very specific. This felt like a protector guide. Um, and specifically, he was coming in with a kind of gray color. I'm saying it really could have been either. Um, it could have been male or female, really. But coming in specifically with a gray color. Um, so gray can signify a whole lot of things. Gray can signify psychic protection. It's definitely a very protective color. It can also signify things like neutrality, having a neutral perspective, a detached perspective, and it kind of brings in some of the energies of white and some of the energies of black. So it's very protective. It can also be a very pure color. It can attract higher energies that can also help to protect you. There's also a lot of psychic energies with the color gray as well. But specifically, um, this this dragon definitely protects you. This is what I would call a protector guide. He is male. But he just feels almost like he could be androgynous. He just has a lot of energies of both, it feels like. So he's very balanced, but he is male. Okay. Okay, uh, so then you had the guide that I regularly pick up on with you, this female lioness guide, but coming in a little bit differently, um, because it was like the animal nature was very much coming across very distinctly. She was showing me very distinct pictures of like paws, but that she's standing up on. So she is standing up like a humanoid kind of figure, but she has paws. She's showing me a tail, but then it was really odd because as I was clearing you, I almost couldn't tell if you had the tail or this was her tail. It really seemed almost like you had a tail. So I don't know if this is the origin because And I'm not really sure if they ever said an origin with you exactly. I know Lyra has come in as almost a suggestion for an origin with you, and Pleiades comes in a lot as well, but I'm not sure if they ever actually clarified that or not. They were always kind of like, um, I remember at one point they were almost kind of teasing you a little bit, like they weren't going to exactly give it to you right away. But showing the tail, whether they want to clarify this or not, this is still really seeming like an origin, okay? Um, Even more so versus just a strong connection, just because of the way that they're coming in with it, because she's almost showing it like you have the tail. It's like you also have that. So it's affecting your, how do I say it, energy body well enough where that almost kind of imprint can be there, like you have a tail. So somebody very connected to some other lifetime, or especially if it's their origin, then they might have wings or something showing up with their energy body, that like signifies the origin that they had, signifies what their soul really relates to the most, and so you're still kind of carrying it over energetically, or your soul is still um, identifying with that body type, and so your energy body is still looking that way. So in a way, an origin is something that you strongly identify with. It's something that your soul feels like can help you to grow, to establish a connection with its own self more. Um, Karmically, it means your origin is a place that you tend to go back to or draw from a lot as a soul. And obviously, it tends to mean that it's where you originally chose to go, or sort of, you could say, manifested in a sense, or where you had your first, or at least where you had your first incarnation as a soul. It can also mean um, more like a resonation. You found it later on. But the place that you were first at, you didn't identify with so much. You were there more temporarily. So it's kind of the place that you sort of settled in as a soul, if that almost makes sense. Now, with you, this would feel more like an actual origin, though. So this would mean that your first few incarnations were there, if this is the origin, which I definitely think it is. But I don't know what's with your guides doing this, or they don't want to clarify it. They just want to make it really obvious and then not completely clarify it for some reason. But the way she comes in with this lioness energy, it kind of does match with this dragon energy a bit in a different way. Obviously, they're two different feelings, but there's still this kind of animalistic feeling about it, even though the dragon isn't coming in as humanoid, so even more this instinctual, primal, animal kind of feeling, although he certainly has intelligence. So he's thinking more like somebody humanoid. Now this, so he's not only bringing in this instinctual, primal type of energy that an animal tends to have. So he brings in kind of both. So it feels like he's pretty balanced in that way too. Now, she is feeling like this cat energy is feeling more like a humanoid, but extremely intensely connected to this animal side where there's a lot of will, there's this kind of fiery feeling there with her. And I almost feel like that's something that you need to connect to. That's something that you need to bring through in this lifetime, even to push through some of the energies that they've spoken about in previous readings. There's almost this kind of barrier sometimes between you and your path. And this energy as well can help you with setting strong boundaries and having significant will with other people where you back your decisions and you really stick to things. And even with your own self, where you stay the course and you stay with the things that you feel, you go with the things that you feel and that you strongly resonate with, and you're willing to ditch something or someone, even if it's really or they're really not on your path and not for you. She also likes to experiment with things, and she's not stuck. So any kind of stuckness or any kind of limited expression, which this idea tends to come through a lot during your readings. This is what's resulting in this blocked area here where you are having a little bit of a block here energetically with the throat. So even if you're connected up here, it's not going to pass through as much or translate as much into these lower chakras where things typically manifest. They tend to manifest in the lower chakras once they hit those energies, those chakras, those energies to pull from. That's when things start manifesting. Up here you have more of your feminine energies. It's more about receiving, being connected to your higher guidance, which can be your own self, your intuition, your actual guides, or just sort of even the universe. So this definitely certainly helps with manifesting. You need both. You really need equal amounts of both to be able to manifest well, but especially to be able to manifest the right thing, right? So you need the guidance first to know what it is that you should be manifesting, and that your soul would really desire to manifest, or even just you in general, speaking more in general, not only on higher terms. What do you actually want? What are you trying to fulfill here? What purpose or role do you have, or do you see yourself fulfilling, and playing in the world in this lifetime? That all comes from up here, but it becomes concrete once it starts hitting like the solar plexus and lower down. You're more aware of it once it's hitting your heart chakra, because the heart chakra can be associated with a lot of desires as well, and we can get clear on desires that we have once we come down to that chakra. Whereas up here, you can be guided, you can be aware, which you're very connected. You're very connected up here with these higher chakras. But at the same time, you can be ultra aware and having a very difficult time manifesting, or it can also be when some of these lower ones are blocked, especially so far up, like throat chakra, heart in there, um, you can be aware in the sense of you have a divine purpose, and you know what it is in a sort of deep sense, but in a kind of logical, conscious sense, where you know exactly what you're going to be doing and what the direction of your life is in that way. So not only in spiritual terms, where it feels like a knowing, but you don't really know quite what it is yet. Um, so that can be kind of the issue as well, and that's more what this is feeling like. It doesn't feel so much like I know exactly what it is. um, this is unblocked and I'm very clear on all of this, and now these lower chakras are in my way, I'm not manifesting this. This feels more like I have an idea, or um, I know exactly what to do in the moment, but ultimately, not necessarily. I just know that I have a path, and I might know that I'm on it in a sense. Like I can sense if I'm on it or if I'm off it, if I'm moving forward or not, but not so much in a logical way, just in a purely feeling, knowing based kind of way. So when you remove this block in here, since this chakra really has a lot to do with your self-identity, um, and it does start coming into purpose as well in a different type of sense, because it's about you expressing something outwardly, okay? And how, again, how you're going to manifest something into the world, what you want to put out exactly. And then coming into the heart chakra, like what what are your exact desires? What do you really want? And you know what those things are. So you're very clear up here. Um, you're very connected to your guidance, but it feels like that's more what the issue is. That's more also the area where it lies. Okay, so that's all that your guides have to say for this reading. So thank you very much for another one. As always, I truly hope that it benefits you, and I will see you in the next one. Namaste.